And we'll start today's practice seated in a comfy place on the mat. So this time of year is a special time. These late summer days, we can tell that the length of the days, at least here in Maine, are getting shorter. We're starting to feel the shift in the air, reminding us that fall will be on its way soon. And it's a good time to take a little extra practice for calming, for settling, as we think about all the things we want to accomplish, what we want to try to finish up from our summer things, and maybe thinking of preparing for fall and winter. It's very easy to get stuck in a mode of doing. So today's practice is an opportunity to slow down, to settle in, and also, well, you'll see there's a couple fun little pieces to it too. So when you find your comfy seat, you might wiggle around and see if it could be a little bit more comfortable. You might give the shoulders a roll or a shrug, or see if a little motion for the neck would be helpful. And then settle in to notice your breath. You might notice if your breath seems short, if it feels constricted, or if it feels like you can breathe in toward your belly. And just noticing the breath. This is an opportunity to observe without having to judge or change or fix. And then maybe we'll start to add a little bit of movement with the breath. So when you find the next inhale, drawing tall through the crown. And when you find the next exhale, we'll take a gentle twist toward one side. Inhale back towards center. Exhale, we'll find that twist to the same side once more. Maybe pausing for a round or two of breath here. Maybe we start to play a little bit with the arms. Today, I'd invite you, if it's comfy, to float the front arm and try reaching it around toward the opposite hip. And then if it's comfy, if you don't need the back arm for support, try wrapping that arm around toward the opposite hip. And can you breathe when you're here? When you find an exhale, gently release the arms. Use an inhale to come back to center. And then on the next exhale, let's take one more twist to this side. And then you might play again with those arms if that felt helpful, to wrap hand toward opposite hip. Or you might start to take that front arm and reach toward the upper back. And you could let that bottom arm float up, inviting the fingertips toward each other. Maybe they just reach. Maybe they connect. Or cow face arms. And then as you exhale, gently releasing the twist, floating the arms back to center, pausing to notice the breath. Sometimes the breath shifts after a twist, especially if we were holding our breath when we were doing things with the arms. And when you find the next exhale, let's find the gentle twist to side two. Keeping the spine tall. Inhale back towards center. Exhale, gentle twist towards side two. Maybe holding here for a breath, or wrapping that front arm toward the opposite hip and the back arm toward the opposite hip. So that can help free up some space in the shoulders, trying to breathe there. And when you find an exhale, release the arms. Use an inhale to come back to center. And one more twist to side two. The exhale helps us find the twist. We can stay right here if that feels best for the shoulders. Or we might start to play, maybe wrapping again if that felt useful. Or maybe now that arm in front reaches toward the upper back. And maybe the bottom arm tries to float up, inviting the fingertips toward each other, though they never have to touch. Can you breathe when you're here? When you find an exhale, release the arms. Use an inhale to bring it to center. Noticing your breath. Noticing if the shoulders need any shrugs. And then drawing the spine tall. Maybe we switch the crossing of the legs if they're crossed in our seated shape. Then we'll find a little length to the side. You might send the fingertips to the mat, tuck the other arm behind the back, taking a little side bend. And notice this bottom side. Sometimes it feels like we collapse down. Can you try to lengthen the bottom side? Inhale it up to center. Now as you exhale, we'll take it over and maybe the arm decides to reach. Again, anchoring through the bottom arm to keep that bottom side long. Inhale up towards center. One more. To try something different, you might take both arms up. And when you find your side bend, see what's different when both arms are lifted. That can help keep that bottom side engaged. Then you can float one arm down if you'd like. Next inhale takes it up tall. Exhale, settle hands to the heart. Before we go to side two, take a moment to warm the wrists, sending the fingertips to point out and then to point inward. And just being kind. And you might also think of sending some kindness out into the world when the fingertips point out, and then sending some of that kindness in toward yourself when your fingertips point in. Being very gentle. And when you're ready, when your wrists feel like they've had enough movement, settle hands by the side, and we'll notice the breath. And when you're ready to set up for side two, we'll send fingertips to the mat, maybe tucking the arm behind the back to start off with and finding that side bend. If it feels like we're just collapsing into the side, maybe trying to lengthen that bottom side up. Inhale back towards center. And use an exhale to revisit that side, maybe adding the reach through the top arm if it's comfy. And can you keep that opposite hip anchored down? Inhale up to center. And if you'd like, you might try bringing both arms up. Exhale up and over. Really keeping that bottom side engaged here. And then you can float the arm down if it's comfy. And when you find the next inhale, draw it back up tall. Exhale, settle hands to heart. And then you might clasp the hands together and circle the knuckles. Just giving the wrists another opportunity to warm. And we might draw that circle the opposite way too. Again, being gentle with the wrists. Especially if yours feel a little grumpy, we want to be extra kind here. And then when you're ready, no rush, no hurry. We'll take an inhale to send them up tall. Then exhale to send hands behind the back. Inhale, starting to lift the rib cage up. Maybe looking up if it's comfy, or resting chin toward the chest. And then inhaling up towards center. If you'd like to stay off the wrist for any reason today, you can stay seated for cat and cow. You'll use the exhale to round back, the inhale to arch forward, or we can start to fold toward all fours here, making our way for two of yoga's classic shapes, but they're fantastic for balancing out the nervous system. So exhale to round, inhale to arch, taking your time. And maybe noticing the movement in the hips here. And if your mind has been really busy, you might take a moment to notice how your hands are anchored down to the mat. And see if you're connecting through all four corners of each palm. Yogi's choice next. For a gentle practice, you can settle hips to heels and soften in child pose. You might stay with cat and cow if you'd like a gentle flow, or if you'd like to warm the body more. If you'd like more motion, curl the toes under for downward facing dog. And we can take the inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. That's called a vinyasa flow. And we can stay with these if we like, or we can mix and match, maybe taking a flow and a rest. Noticing your breath, whichever movement you choose, or shape you choose. And when you're ready, taking your time, we'll start to make our way back to meet on all fours. And you might take a moment to shift a little, settling into the shape. And then we'll do a little exploration here. We'll start by reaching back with the right toes. And then we might try floating that left palm up. We might try floating the right heel too for sun dog or chakrasana. We might send left hand to the mat and see if the right hand could float for same side sun dog if we'd like a little challenge. And then you might try bringing that right hand down in line with your left knee and trying once more to see if you could lift that left arm up. This is an inline sun dog, and it's a little trickier. So you can imagine that right hand, left knee, left foot like they're on a balance beam. And just play, just see what happens here. And then when you're ready, no rush, no hurry, bring both hands back to the mat. Float that right heel once more. Exhale, take the knee toward the nose, the foot between the palms. Inhale it up for a kneeling lunge. Exhale, hands can settle to the heart. We can stay put here. We might find a little flow, if it's comfortable, by inhaling the fingertips up, and then taking that left hand and reaching it over to the right. Inhale, tall. Exhale, take that left hand over to the right again. One more, inhaling up. Exhale, take the left hand over to the right. Then inhale, tall. Exhale, hinge from the hips, fold and frame the foot. If kneeling lunge feels wobbly enough, you can keep the feet where they are. Or you might try walking that front foot over in line with the back knee. This is our inline lunge. And as we lift, we might find things get a little wobbly. We can settle the hands to the heart. We could rest a hand on a wall or on a block to add another touch point. So these wobbly shapes, they help wake up some of our neuromuscular communication, how our brain and the muscles in our body talk to each other, as well as getting our proprioceptive nerves the nerves that tell our body where it is in space involved. If you find these easy, close your eyes. That should add another element of wiggle. And then when you're ready, no rush, no hurry. We'll fold to frame the foot. If it's comfortable, we'll keep that left hand down and take the right hand either to the thigh, or we might start to reach it high, finding a little twist. You can float the back knee if you'd like a little more length in your twist. Exhale, bring it down. Frame the foot. Slide or step back to all fours or a high plank for a little more oomph. When you exhale, shift and lift hips. Downward facing dog. Pedal in, bend one knee and the other. And when you exhale, it's yogi's choice. Settle back into child pose to rest. Find 3 vinyasa flows if you're craving motion today. And just choosing what feels best for your body and your practice. Noticing your breath. So these kind of wobbly, wiggly poses, they're pretty good at helping us be present in the moment. It's hard to think about what is on your to-do list when you're trying not to bump your nose on your mat. So these are one way that we can practice being present or help getting mind and body to work together with our attention right here, right now. No rush, no hurry. But when you're ready, we'll start to find our way back toward all fours. Again, taking a moment when you get there, seeing if anything needs a little shift or a little circle. And then we'll start to explore side 2. Send those left toes to the back of the mat, and they might stay there as we see if the right arm could float, or maybe the heel can float too. And we can stay put. We might mix it up by taking right hand down and seeing if the left arm can float. Same side, sun dog might be wobbly enough. You can stay put here. Or bring the left hand down in line with the right knee and right foot, just like they were on a balance beam, and see if that right hand could float. This is a little different. Can you breathe? Even if things do get a little wobbly. And then when you're ready, no rush, no hurry, bring both hands to the mat, creating space between them. We'll press back through the left heel and then take the knee toward the nose, the foot between the palms. Inhale, sweeping up, kneeling lunge. Exhale, settle hands to heart. Find to hold here. Or we can add a little flow, opening the side body by inhaling fingertips up. Exhale, take that right wrist up and over to the left. Inhale, sweeping tall. Exhale, up and over to the left. Once more, inhale, tall. Exhale, up and over toward the left. Inhale, tall. Exhale, hands to the heart. And then we'll hinge and fold to frame the foot. Now, if we felt wobbly enough there, we can leave the feet in place or walk that left foot over, toe heel in front, in line with that right knee. All right, inline lunge could look a little different. Maybe we have hands on the thigh for stability. Maybe we have a hand on a wall for support. Can you breathe when you're here? And if it doesn't feel wobbly, try closing the eyes and see what happens then. Maybe if you thought of the wobbles like a wave, like you were surfing, and just explored if you could work with those wobbles. Noticing if that shifts anything. And then when you're ready, we'll hinge and fold, framing the foot. Right hand will probably be close to it. We'll explore taking that left hand to the thigh, starting to open the collarbones to the side if it feels good. Maybe reaching the hand high and maybe floating the back knee. Can you breathe here? Exhale, cartwheel it down, frame the foot. Slide or step back, all fours or high plank. Yogi's choice. We can go to downward facing dog and stay here, pedaling in. We can move into our vinyasa flows. We can find time to rest in child pose, or time for any other pose or movement that your body is craving. Take your time to honor what signals you're getting from your body. Noticing your breath. And taking your time with the practice. And when you're ready, when you've finished that next flow or completed your rest, we'll start to make our way back to meet on all fours once again. And take a moment to inhale toward your cow pose, curling the toes in underneath. As you exhale, press and lift, shifting the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Pedal in, maybe walking the feet a little wide for this dog. And then you might explore if you can walk your hands back toward your feet. Finding a wide-legged forward bend. Gentle nod yes or slow shake no. As you exhale, we'll start to bend the knees, sending the hips back and seeing if we can keep the knees in line with the ankles. Inhale your way up toward a wide-legged chair. This is sometimes called horse stance. We want to be mindful of the knees, trying to keep them headed the same direction as our toes and about stacked over the ankles. Hands can be close or they can reach high if that feels good. And then inhale all the way up tall, relaxing hands down by the sides. Now this is a wider mountain pose. So you might take a moment to shift the weight a little side to side. Noticing how things feel with a wide base of support. And then if you'd like to step the feet in closer, you can. Or if you feel more stable with feet wide, go ahead and keep them that way. Check in with the feet, anchoring through all 4 points on the bottom of each foot. And when it feels like the feet are firmly connected, we'll explore lengthening up through the crown and noticing what's going on here with the pelvis. If it feels like there's a little tilt in the pelvis, trying to neutralize that. Sometimes when our feet are wider apart, that can exaggerate the tilt in the pelvis, so finding a neutral place there. And then explore if you can shift that weight a little more toward the left foot. Would it be possible for that right knee to float up? And we might stay there, or we might explore if it's possible to open the collarbones toward the right. Maybe we join that front hand and front leg. Maybe we turn to look back toward the thumb. This is revolved hand to big toe pose. You can stay put, or you can try taking your hand to your big toe and lengthening the leg out. Can your spine stay long? Can you breathe while you're here? And when you exhale, gently release. Seeing if you can float the foot down toward the mat. And then take a couple of steps. Take a little shake. And just notice what distance your feet find as you come back to standing. And you're welcome to stay hip width or feet together. Or maybe we take the feet a little bit wider, maybe mat width apart again. And now we explore if we can shift weight to side two. Noticing if we can float the knee. And we might stay put there, or if the knee floats, maybe we see if we can take the torso open to that side. Maybe we join front hand on that knee. We might look back at our thumb. We might take hand to foot and find length. Can you breathe when you're here? No rush, no hurry. When you're ready, gently bringing the hands forward. See if you can float the foot down. And take a couple steps, take a little shake. Maybe borrowing from Qigong practice and lifting and dropping the heels. That helps reset the nervous system and let go of extra tension. And then you choose. Feet might be wide, feet might be close. We're setting up for a forward bend. So knowing that position, your feet where you'd like them. Use the inhale to sweep it tall. The exhale to hinge from the hips. Swan dive forward for a forward bend. And then hopefully you're still at the back of your mat so you can walk your hands forward. But if you're not, if you're at the top of the mat, see if you can create a little space here to walk the feet out until we meet in downward facing dog. Pedal in, bend one knee and the other. Deep breath here. And then from this down dog, we'll try inhaling it toward a plank. Exhale it back to down dog. Inhale it toward a plank. Belly button supports the spine. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more like this. And then with the exhale, we'll start to walk the feet forward now toward the hands at the top of the mat. Relax the neck, gentle nod yes, or slow shake no. As you exhale, we'll be setting up for chair pose. So if you'd like to try chair now with the feet together, I'd invite you to walk the feet together, or hip width apart is okay too. Settle the hips back behind. Belly button supports the spine as you lift toward Utkatasana, chair pose. Now you choose. Chair can be pretty tall with just a little bend. Arms can parallel the mat. Hands can draw close if that's better on the shoulders. Or we can let the hips sink low and maybe the hands reach high. Find a place where you can breathe and that you feel a little bit steady. And then use the next inhale to take it tall. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. Maybe a little shake when you get there. Anchoring through your feet, noticing your breath. You choose, again, how wide the feet are. If it's comfortable, I'd invite you toward hip width this time. And then check back in with the pelvis and just notice if it feels like it's in alignment. If you thought of the pelvis like a bowl, could the bowl keep soup in it? Or would the bowl tip and spill the soup out forward or backward? Trying to find neutral as best you can. And then maybe giving the shoulders a roll back from the ears. Now here from the top of the mat, let's explore shifting the weight toward the left foot, floating the right knee. And then inviting the heel back toward the hip. We might stay put there. That might be plenty of wobble and work. We might connect right hand toward the ankle. We could stay put, or we could press foot into hand, hand into foot to find dancer. Now a dancer, maybe you have a wall that you can reach for. You don't even have to reach. Or if you do, you might think of keeping the collarbones open. Breathing while you're here. And when you're ready, we'll gently find our way to center. Release the foot. Invite the toes to the back of the mat. Inhale a high lunge or a crescent lunge. Exhale, spin the back toes out. Open for your warrior two. Keeping front knee in line with the toes. Inhale, sweep it up tall. Exhale, sink it back. Warrior two. Inhale, rise and reach. Exhale, sink and soften. One more. Inhale it up. Exhale it down. Then the next inhale takes you up and brings the toes to point to the long edge of your mat. Exhale, hinge from the hips. Swan dive forward for a very wide leg forward fold. Relax the neck. Gentle nod yes or slow shake no. Yogi's choice. Stay put or walk the hands toward one foot, maybe bending that knee a little. And we can take time here just exploring walking to one side. If skandasana is in your practice, side lunge, you can sink low. Maybe lifting the toes on the other foot if that's comfy. Take your time, there's no rush. Listening to your hips, your knees, and your back. And when you're ready, we'll find our way back towards center. Turning the heels in. As you exhale, settle the hips down. Inhale toward goddess pose or Devyasana. Anchoring through the feet. Taking a breath here. Maybe exploring floating one heel and the other. And if they float, maybe we try floating both. And then inhale it all the way tall. Exhale, release the hands down. Invite those left toes back toward the short edge of the mat. We'll spin the right foot to settle back in warrior two. And take a breath, finding length. And as you exhale, cartwheel it down, frame the foot. Slide or step back, all fours or high plank, one breath. Exhale, shift and lift, downward facing dog. Yogi's choice, there's time enough for 3 flows, or time to settle down in child pose and rest, or time to attend to any other needs or movements or requests. Noticing your breath. And giving yourself permission to just be here, to just settle. And especially at this time of the year, we often feel like, we have to do all these things while we still can. But there becomes a point where we're just kind of doing things mindlessly, barely even present in our activities. So just pausing. I like the saying, don't just do something, sit there. That can really help us mindfully choose what direction we want to head in or how best to use our energy in that moment. When you've finished your last flow or that last breath in your rest, take your time, no rush, no hurry. We'll meet back in our cow pose. Finding that gentle arch in the back, toes curl in underneath. Anchor through the four corners of the palms. Exhale, shift and lift, downward facing dog. Pedal in, bend one knee and the other, walk your way into the shape. And as you exhale, we'll start to step, walk, or maybe hop our way to the top of the mat. Forward bend. Relax the neck, gentle nod yes, or slow shake no. As you exhale, bend the knees, send the hips back behind. Inhale your way toward chair pose, Utkatasana. You choose the arms, you choose the height. Breathing while you're here. The next inhale will take you tall, and exhale your way to mountain pose, Tadasana. Take a moment to arrive in Tadasana, evenly anchoring both feet to the mat, and then see if it's possible to start to float that left knee up. Invite the left heel toward the hip. Maybe we connect hand to foot. Maybe we just rest here. Or if you'd like to play with dancer pose, again, explore pressing hand into foot, foot into hand. We might stay high, or we might start to hinge a little from the hip, trying to keep the collarbones open. Can you breathe when you're here? Lifting back up if you were folding. Release the foot, invite the toes to the back of the mat. Inhale, arriving in a high lunge. Exhale, spin the back toes open, finding that warrior two shape. As you find your warrior two, see if you can keep the knee in line with the toes. Then inhale, lengthen it up. Exhale, soften back into the shape. Inhale, lift and rise. Exhale, sink and settle. Then the next time you lift, spin the toes to the long edge of the mat. Exhale, hinge from the hips, folding here. Your choice. You can just rest. You might explore walking to one side and the other, or you might try keeping your back long, planting one hand down on the floor in line with your nose, and see about opening the other arm up for a half twist. Exhale down. Inhale, you might try side two. Exhale down. Inhale up. And take your time with it. You can also play with going to that same side again. And just noticing if that makes a difference for you. There's no rush or hurry here. So take your time. And when you're ready, we'll start to walk the hands back in. Turn the heels toward each other, toes out a little. Settle the hips down. We'll inhale our way up toward goddess pose. And as you find it, again, explore the feet. And then we'll explore some shoulders here, stacking one elbow over the other, wrapping for eagle arms. And we might play with lifting them up a little and sending the thumb away from the forehead. Exhale, gently release. And then we'll see about side two, wrapping the other arm on top. And it's okay to stand up if you need, or see if we can keep the bend in the knees, bend in the hips. And when you inhale, open the arms, finding one last breath in goddess pose. And then inhale all the way tall. Exhale, floating the arms down. And then let's reposition so that the right toes point to the top of your mat. The left toes point out to this side. We settle back in our warrior two. And as you exhale, cartwheel the palms down to frame the foot. Slide or step back, all fours or high plank. Exhale, shift and lift, downward facing dog. Yogi's choice. Is it time to rest now? Is it time for 3 vinyasa flows? Check in and see how you're feeling. What works best for your body in this moment? No rush, no hurry. And again, any movement here, it might just be coming to sit and breathe, or giving the wrists a little more attention. No rush, no hurry with it. When you do find that you're ready, this time we'll meet in child pose. Hips settling toward the heels. A puppy stretch is an option too if it doesn't feel good to send hips to the heels. And then if it's comfy from child pose, from puppy, you might stay put. But from child pose, you could walk the hands toward one side and then settle the hips away from the hands. Inhale them back towards center. Exhale, hands towards side 2 and settling the hips away. Noticing if you breathe when you're here. And then inhaling back towards center, taking a breath. And the next inhale will help press us up towards seated. No rush, no hurry to get there. You might give the shoulders a little roll or shrug. And if you're comfy seated with hips on heels, you can stay put. Otherwise, find a comfy seat for a moment. We're getting ready to shift down toward the back on the mat. So you might be rolling or shrugging the shoulders. You might give the back a little more movement. And when you feel ready, we'll start just pausing to notice the breath here. Maybe noticing what has shifted since we started practice today. And then we'll make our way down toward the back on the mat. You might hold behind one knee, bringing it in toward the belly, helping you roll to the back. And when you get there, it's okay to take any motion that feels good. If things need a little rock or a reach. And it's okay to go right to Shavasana if you're ready to rest. Or take that right knee in toward the ribs. Left foot can rest on the mat or left leg can rest long. And just noticing your breath here. Maybe noticing what's different when you're down on the back. And then we can take that left foot to the mat, resting right ankle on top of the thigh. And we might float the left foot for reclined pigeon here too. Yogi's choice, you can draw it in close, and gently rocking and breathing while you're here. And being kind to your body. You can play again with lengthening the leg up if it feels good. And this is a shape you might stay put in if you can feel things are just starting to let go. You might need more time and attention here. Stay put if you like. Or when you're ready, we'll have an option for reclined twist. And we want to be mindful of those SI joints. So if you have any SI trouble, you'll want to take the foot, uncrossing the legs and take knees to the chest to twist. Or if it's comfy, if your low back, if those SI joints are healthy, You can take this shape from reclined pigeon, send the foot to the mat, tip the knee to the side, and that can help us find a little variation on reclined twist. And if it feels like your hips are pulling things out of line with your back, you might slide the hips over to the opposite side of the mat first. So that might be hips to the right, knees to the left. And can you breathe when you're here? And take your time, no rush, no hurry. Staying put if the shape feels good. And when you're ready, we can make our way back towards center. And taking a shape to neutralize before side 2, maybe a little rock, or maybe a little press of the heels up. And then when you're ready, we'll have left knee toward the ribs, right leg can reach long, or rest the foot on the mat. And can you breathe when you're here? And you might stay put here. Maybe drawing a little circle with the knee, or you might bring that right foot to the mat and rest the ankle on the thigh. It's fine to stay put here for reclined pigeon, or you might draw the knee in toward the ribs, maybe drawing things close. And breathing when you're here, and being kind to your body. And sometimes I see people practice the shape with gritting their teeth and, curling everything up. But our body actually lets our muscles relax more when we can breathe deeply. And so that might mean backing off on the stretch at first. And you can stay put here again if this feels good, or if you can feel things starting to let go here. Stay put just like this. Or if it feels better, or you'd like to explore that twist, we can float the foot to the mat. We might slide our hips over to the left. Again, being mindful of those SI joints. We might be uncrossing here to protect them. Or if your back and your SI joints are healthy, you can tip the knees over toward the side. You might reach that left arm away. And can you breathe when you're here? No rush, no hurry. Taking longer in the twist if you like. But when you're ready, we'll start to make our way back towards center. And it's your choice. You might tuck the knees close and find a little rock. You could press the heels up high, taking a little legs up the wall. Or we might visit constructive resting pose. That's feet on the mat, knees bent. The classic shape has the arms across the ribs, reaching for the opposite shoulder. But if it doesn't feel great, you can take the elbows wide like cactus arms. Your choice. This shape can be a nice spot, again, for calming the nervous system. And if it feels great, you can stay put here for Shavasana. Or at any point over the next few minutes, you can make your way from here to a classic Shavasana if you'd like. And taking these last few minutes of practice in silence and allowing yourself this opportunity to integrate the benefits from our class as you allow yourself to just be without having to do anything. And if you're able to take a long Shavasana today, you're welcome to stay put here to do so. Or if you'd like to start adding a little motion through the fingers and toes, go right ahead. And finding what might like to bend or to stretch. And taking any motion that feels comfortable and helpful. Eventually, maybe making your way over to rest on one side or the other. And take your time. Maybe using an inhale to help you make your way back up towards center. And as you find a seated shape, maybe it's the same shape you started practicing today. You might take a moment to notice how you feel in this moment. And see if the back needs any motion, if the shoulders need a roll, or the neck needs a little length. And when you find a tall spine and center, lengthen up through the fingertips. Exhale, hands settle toward the heart. And thank you all for taking the time to practice today. It's a pleasure to practice with you. And namaste.